Okay, so we're going to start now the session, this webinar on XPPs, on exchange program policies. And for this session is going to be facilitated by the ECB auditing ECB GIP auditing manager of ISEC in Mexico. The ECB is the Entity Control Board. Um, and well, she's Diana Ortega. And well, Diana, can you introduce yourself a little bit more and tell us what the session is going to be about?
Sure, Nikta. Hi, everyone. I am Diana Ortega. As Nikta said, I am ECDJP auditing manager for ISEC in Mexico. I'm in charge of audit all the documentation and all the regulations that the companies may have to stay here in a regulatory way. And this session will be about the exchange policy, the roles that every party of the exchange process has, responsibilities, and the consequences of breaking the XPPs. Okay, let's go to the next slide in order to see what we'll be talking about. Okay, as I said just a second before, are the exchange policies, the exchange program policies, and these policies are for outgoing exchanges and incoming exchanges, and for GCPs and JPs. All the exchange programs that has ISEC in its naturality are regulated by these XPPs. Can you please change the slide, please? Okay, and this is these are the five. There are five. Yes, sorry. There are the five. How can I say? Top points that the XPPs contain in themselves. There are the opportunity organization documents, the host entity documents, the home entity documents, the wait me a minute, I can see a little bit, the MCs and ISEC international documents, and also the EP documents. There are well the visa, the passport, and all the things that we audit. If we can go to the next slide. Okay, these are some important facts that we may know about XPPs. The XPPs define and explain the roles and responsibilities of each party of the exchange process. They explain to us in which part the home LC finishes their work, and in which part the host LC starts the work and finishes the work, and the organization begins their work and finish their work with the trainee. And also, what are the obligations that the trainee must follow in order to achieve a good experience here or in any other country of if they are taking an ISEC opportunity. Also, uh, they explain the do's and the don'ts of the ISEC exchange processes. These are like, okay, you can sign your EPAN and you can say no to the opportunity in 10 days. No, this is an example. So there are like okay, you can do that, but you can't do that, and this is the consequence if you break this rule. And also, it explains the consequences of the breaches of one or more XPPs. They give to you the measurements of how serious it would be the consequence if you break one, two, or more XPPs. So going through the next slide. Okay, and what about with the SNS, the standards and satisfactions that all of us must know? They are very linked because mainly in logistics and the job, and also living, they are like the whole regulation for the migratory process, for the job description and the opening of the opportunity. all the permissions and all the documentation that the Chinese may have for achieving the visa if it is needed. I don't know really how are the immigration processes with France, but in Mexico, there are all the Latin American countries don't need a visa for coming here up to 6 months. So this is a little bit of the examples uh, that they must follow between the standards and satisfactions and the XPPs. So in the next slide, here are the home LC roles and responsibilities. Okay, in the what if I am a home LC and I have a trainee that is going through I don't know, a practice in Timbuktu, for saying like that. No, um, we have to give him or her. Let's put a name. Let's put Juanita Perez. Juanita Perez will have a practice in Timbuktu. So I, as a EP manager, must give her a training in myisec.net. There are expat and how can she see all the opportunities that she may have in their specialty, if it is a GIP or if in their how can I say, in her preferences, sorry, in her preferences, if it is a GCDP. So you can and you must give a training on how is expat, how they can enter and make their profile and all this stuff. No, also there is a tracking that is uh, giving a follow up with your trainee. You just can't leave alone your trainee in this process because maybe it, he or she can be an ISECer, but maybe not. So many of the processes that are in ISEC are very, very like serious and very following one step to another. They are very continuous, and if you don't give a follow up to your trainees, maybe the process will be slower and may have very consequences and conflicts within that. Also a cultural shock because I had a case of a trainee that I had to come here in Mexico for this year, and she is from India, and she never uh, got out of of her country until this time that she's coming for a professional practice. So for she, it was like a chaos. She was the first month she was missing a lot of her family. She wanted to leave and all this stuff. But this is because the home LC didn't give her a cultural shock session, like saying to her, okay, this is a new continent, this is a new culture. You must have to take a consideration in where is the profile of your EP and how he can react to the change of culture, because it is not the same to live in Paris to live in Mexico City. And also an expectation setting, because many of the cases they will, and this is not for GCP here in Mexico, they think that they come only for having Paris to know people and to get in touch with other culture. To get in touch with other culture and to make friends, yes, but not to party all the day. So you must see how are the expectation series of your trainees and your EPs, and see how can you modify if it is needed or not. And this is also a good thing to do before you begin all the process, because you can see how can how it will be in the real deal, in the real professional practice or social practice. Also OGX flow setting, that is okay, you will be applying to let's return to Juanita Perez. No, Juanita Perez will be applying for a marketing opportunity, but she's very desperate and she wants to get match now, no? But you have to tell her that I don't know, she wants to go to Mexico to their to her opportunity, and Mexico it is a little bit like a month or more than a half to have a response, and then the interview, and then the migratory process, and then the booking the ticket of the flight and the arrival and all the flow that we know as OGX. Okay, this flow will be explained like step by step in order they can't feel that desperation of okay, why I don't have a response and I apply the last week. You know, you must have a OGX flow setting with your trainee and make to see him or her the real life of an seeker that is not like a pink world and we are jumping in the yard because it is very very hard to have a response in 1 or 2 weeks. Approximately, for example, with your country in France, here in Mexico, we have a response of 1 month and a half or 2 months. Sorry, and the necessary information that I refer is like, okay, what are the costs of living in another country? How it would be your behavior? How is that practice in ISEC? Either if it is social or if it is professional, you must say to them how they can and they must behave in every of these situations. So this is for the home entity responsibilities and roles. And next we have the host LC roles and responsibilities. Okay, for these ones is not the same as OGX, but it is mostly the same things. No, the visa procedure. This is the only thing that maybe OGX no don't check like a lot because it's not part of much in much case in many cases. Sorry, many countries have the visa procedures in the countries when the trainees arrive. So there are not like so required in OGX, but in ICX they do have a tracking of the visa procedure, what type of visa do you need, for how many days you will stay here, and if you need another documents. For example, here in Mexico, if you stay more than 6 months, you need a resident card in order to be legally staying here, no, for more than 6 months. Also, you need accommodation and food, and accommodation is if it is GCP a whole family, or I don't know if you have for rent any location in order you can have your trainees like in a comfy way and they can have all their needs in that place, or in a host family also having an analysis and all the interviews and all about host families, no, and food. This is a little bit conflicted in many sites because in GCPs you can give food, but in the opportunities they are established how many foods they will have in depending on the opportunity. And in many cases, attendees don't read the opportunities, and they are established, and they are complaining to you that why they don't have their 6 meals that they usually have in their countries, and you say no. In the opportunity, it is said to you that are two, not more, not less. No, also integration. I mean, many times most for GIP, not so much for GCP, for GIPs is very complicated to integrate the trainees because they are like, oh, I'm almost 30 and you are at least 18, 19 years old. What can you how can I have fun with you, no? And they ignore you. It passed with me. Okay, but in many times also that trainees they are very apathic. So what you have to do is to invite them to the events that you have in the LC many or mainly in the part that you can invite them to, I don't know, family foods, or you can only have um, some convenience with them in order they can mm, they can have a better experience and they can know in a very approach way the culture and how they behave with other young people there. And what else? As the same as in OGX tracking, because you don't know if she or he gets sick and he's almost dying and you don't know like in a month. So it is very important in ICX to have a tracking in order to see if he is happy, if he or she is happy with the opportunity, if the company is paying them punctually and also on time and on regulations, and if they are, if they don't have any problem in the work, if they are liking the opportunity and all the stuff, no. And also the booklets, I don't know if it is the same as in France, but in Mexico we have a booklet that, I don't know, I'm from Mexico City, and in the booklet they say to you that how is the cost of living here in Mexico City, the cost of transportations, the cost of food, what types of food we can have here, the type of culture, how many um, amusement things we can have here in Mexico City, and all this stuff. So it is a very good idea to send them when they are matched and they are in the migratory process, almost arriving here, to give them a booklet in which they can see how is the life in your country, in your city, and how they can be, I don't know, saving money if they want to, or they can manage their money in a better way. So for the next slide we have, um, okay, this is the uh, main standards and satisfaction that we cover in this part of the host LCN entity. There are logistics. We, as a whole host LC entity, we are um, we are obligated, yes, obligated to manage their visa and transit permission. That is what I explained to you the last time. That are all the visa procedures and the cost of the visa procedure, and see how, which type, with in which by which, sorry, but how much time they will be there and all this stuff. No, also the arrival, that is going to receive him or her in the airport, in the train station, I don't know, wherever they can arrive. We as an host LC entity must go and pick up him or her and leave them in their, well, in their homes, for saying like that, in the residences that will be in the period I will be staying here, no? And also the departure support, like I can't support. Okay, I can read a little. Uh, okay, the support. I think it is departure. Yes, departure. This is more for OGX, but also for ICX, booking the flight ticket or the train ticket, seeing in which day they will depart and they will arrive, how many hours will be the flight, and all the support that they might need. Also, in some cases, they, if they crosses a second scale in the flight, they must, or they may need visa, a transit visa, in order they can pass to the country that are having the scale. So also having all this help for them would be suitable, and it is a need for having a good experience as a host LC, as an, and as an EP, no? And for the next slide, um, okay, we have the companies and organization roles and responsibilities. That is the part that many companies misunderstood, or in other cases they forget. Okay, but in this case, Or while they are in church, imagine that I am enterprise and I am having a trainee, I don't know, from Kenya or something like that. No, I must give to you as ISEC a flow job description and follow it by heart. Because in many cases, because of the needs that they have in the enterprise, because of the problems that they might have and all this stuff, the Chinese don't have the same work that it is established in the opportunity. So this is a huge break of XPPs because it is one of the most important. Because if they are applying some for something that they want to work and they are specialized on, you won't put a, I don't know, an information engineer having a work of marketing. No, this is a pretty much an example of what it is. And also a training, because in many cases they use, I don't know, softwares, and they have programs that they might that the Chinese may not know because there is another country, and they must have a training and education cycle to them in order to know the basic things, and then they can develop the project that they are wanting to know. Also professional development, not only for the trainee, also for the enterprise, to have a growth between them, and also to have a support between them. They are on mainly what we want in professional internships are the growth on for the trainee as a leader of a project, and for the enterprise to see how they can impact in a culture and how they can impact in their same country. So this is one of the most important and beautiful points in the XPPs. And also a healthy environment, because in many cases, um, if he's for another country, they may have a little bit of rejection from the part of the employee of the employees and all that stuff. So we must behave, and also we must see in the enterprise if it is a conflictive environment between the trainee and the enterprise, or if it is a healthy environment between them. Also for having a good experience for the trainee, because he will have this memory almost for the rest of his or her life. So this is one of the most important ones, because the companies don't have that type of considerations many times. So for having a better experience and for giving them a better experience either to the trainees or to the enterprises, let's be follow up. I don't know, every month, every 2 months, in order to see how they are working. No, so going through the next slide we have. mm, okay, the XPPs for job. There are the, as I told you, the job description, the duration. It is very important, because with that we can like plan which type of visas, which documentation they might need, mm, if they are wanting urgent match, which country partners we can get in touch with in order to have a fast response. And let me see what it says here. Okay. Also, first day of work. We as ISEC must leave our trainees in their work in the first day. This is for only for knowing the one of the routes and how they can go. I don't know, in bus, in subway, in by by walking, in car if it is possible, in taxi. I don't know. In order to they can see how which opportunities they have to move through their homes to their work, and also individual responsibility goals. And this is more for the company and the trainees, because there are what they expect for ISEC to be as an experience. So in many cases, we we do ask for a expectation settings by the for the two parts, but many but most frequently only the trainees do this part of the expectation settings. The enterprises say, no, well, I only want to grow in some percent, but what do you want more? No, do you want to impact to this guy or to this girl? Do you want to have an expansion in their country? I don't know. It is very it is very important to have an expectation setting in order to see what is the growth responsibility that the company has. Okay, so in the next slide we have the EP's roles and responsibilities. Yes, also the EPs has responsibilities. So we can see here, okay, that the EPAN is almost their Bible, almost the most important thing that they can't lose, they can't miss, they can't nothing. They must stay with their soul and their lives. So this EPAN is valid only for 10 days. And these 10 days are for everything. If they want to quit the practice, as I say it like after this, they are in the range of the 10 days. If they want to um if they want to change the practice, are in the 10 days. If the company is not agree with the trainee, are in the 10 days. But if the company accepted the trainee and they pass the 10 days, the EP is not allowed to have any other opportunity, either GCP, either GIP in ISEC, because it is banned in the system, as in EXPA it is banned, and also it is shown as a conflictive EP because it is not fully committed to the role as an EP and as a future trainee of a opportunity in ISEC. So this is one of the most important parts that it is our best friend and also our defense, that the EPAN are only for is all the EPANs are only for 10 days, and in this range of 10 days they must decide if they want the opportunity, if they don't want it, and if they want to change it, because it is very harmful when we have to ban the EPs because they didn't know that these 10 days are running, and then after 10 days then there are 20 a month, and they are wanting to quit the opportunity when which they don't know. So be aware of that. And also in the next slide we have, okay, the complaint procedure. This is most for us to having a process of the complaints, because in many cases, also as in cases of PCV, there are like us. Oh, okay. I send you a what, and I explain to you in a voice note what happened to me. No, you must have a procedure, and this is like the four steps that we must follow to have the procedure. Since I can't see like well, because my computer died and I'm in my phone, I won't be like very deep in these things, but they are very explained there. What are the five steps? Sorry, the four steps, and what do you need to do for a complaint? No, okay. So going through the next slide. Okay, this is a questions and answers session, but I think there is no one, only Nick there. So this part
No,
we
so
can, okay,
I think we have well, 8 people.
okay,
So if you guys are either from ISEC Mexico or ISEC France, you can add your questions in the post that we put in their our respective group. So we can wait, let's say, 5 minutes to see if you have any answers, and we can answer them. What do you think, Diana?
Okay, okay, okay. Yes, because I didn't. Well, because I in my phone I can see there are people or no in the
Yeah.
session. Sorry,
No,
sorry,
don't
my
worry,
dears.
don't worry, don't worry. Yeah, we have 7 people. So
Okay,
I'll be checking the posts if you have any questions, either in the
I'm
because I know that there were going to be people from both from ISEC Mexico and ISEC France. So if there is if you have any questions, just put your questions in the comments of our post. But thank you very much, Diana, for this session.
okay. No, thanks to you for inviting me to give it.
And can you, in the meantime, can you tell us a little bit more of what is the role of the Entity Control Board of the ECB?
Oh, sure. The entity control board was made by ISEC International, I think, in the last year, and it was formed because they want to optimize and standardize many procedures that we have here in ISEC, such as migration, auditing, and also case solving. Because in many times, I don't know if it is in France as well in Mexico, but there are many cases that are not solved, and because they are not solved, the experiences of the Chinese are very bad for them. They have a vast memory of what is supposed to be a good experience, no? So the
Yeah.
entity control board is in charge to audit all the documentation as in expa and in the systems that we make in Podio usually, and also what else in also in the part of case solving, we give you all the support and all the tools in order to achieve a good expectations in the resolution of the problem. It can be, I don't know, that your journey was very was very sorry. I'm translating in my head. Well, he didn't want and he didn't he didn't purchase assurance an insurance, sorry, assurance an insurance, American insurance, and is and then we have problems here because it is must in every internship, no, in every professional or social exchange. So it's not easy to do, but it is the main part of the ECB that we want to build better experiences, not only for trainees, also for optimizing the procedures in the LCs and in the whole MC.
Okay, it sounds very cool. And what are some of the tasks, for example, of the ECB?
Some of
Or
these
what are
tasks,
some of
my
what
uh-huh.
what are some of the how to say it? Like the routine, kind of like the routine. What are some of the things that you have to deal with, like in the every week
Ah,
as
okay, okay,
an
good.
ECB?
Oh, in many cases, for example, in auditing, we have to deal with trainees that uh, upload their documentation in time. So they make documents, they don't upload the documents in a correct way. All these things will slow all the procedure of uploading documents, and the fines are problem for us because any LC wants to pay them
Okay.
as usual. But also there is that because the Chinese, as I explained in one of the part of OGX, very democratic country, so they pressure the LC with the ECB. So they tell to the ECB, hey, I apply like yesterday and I got no answer. But this, to be honest, this is ridiculous because it a lot of there are more than 1,000 of applications. So for seeing the ICX people checking profile by profile, you don't know which number of profile you are. So also, this is because it is like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, and then that we have a little bit of problem with the Chinese, most because of this part, and also when they don't have for example, a home, they don't have an accommodation. Well, a fault of the LC, but they we deal with all the chaos that the LCs also have to deal. No, we are like the support of the LCs.
Okay, very good. Um, well, I think there are
So
no questions so far.
yes,
So, but thank you very much on telling us. It's very interesting to know like what the ECB does. And so I don't know if you have anything else to add to the presentation, to the webinar.
yes.
Okay.
I think I don't. If you have any comment, you can have my contact that is there. This
Mhm.
is me, and that's all for the session.
Okay, very good. So thank you again very much, Diana, for this session. So I guess that if they have any question, they can reach you.
Yes.
Okay. So well, thank you very much. And so guys, if you have any questions, if you're watching the webinar now, if you're watching the video later, please do reach Diana, or you can also reach me if you have any kind of questions regarding the expertise. So
Uh-huh.
I think we will finish it here. So well, thank you again very much, Diana, for this session.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so I will be finishing the transmission. So again, if you have any questions or reaches, and well, thank you again for all those who attended the presentation.
Yes, thank you very much, and a little bit of the XPPs because I know they are a little bit
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think that's one of the main points of this. That
complicated.
yes, to actually to read the XPP so that we know more about them and we are aware of all the information that it contains. That they contain.
Yes.
So, well, I'm going to finish the transmission. And well, thanks again, Diana, and everybody. So, have a nice evening or afternoon. Bye.
Okay. Bye.